Most sellers come into the listing conversation pitching the same sort of strategy. If I list high, I have room to negotiate and I will end up with a stronger number. It's a reasonable assumption, but you know what they say about assumptions. And this type of assumption turns a 2-week sale into a 60-day grind. And it usually ends up with the seller taking a lower net profit than if they had priced it correctly from day one. I've watched this happen a lot of times, both in Texas before I moved to Central Oregon, and now I see it happen in Redmond all the time. And I can tell you there's something pretty clearly that separates the homes that sell fast from the ones that sit. And it's almost never the home. It's almost always the price. Here's what a lot of sellers don't realize about timing when you're entering into the market with a new listing. The first 2 weeks of being on the market is not just about your listing being new. It's the most important window your listing will ever have. When your home hits the MLS, it's going to trigger alerts for all of the buyer's agents and all of the buyers who are actively looking and are motivated, looking every single day, comparing the homes that are on the market, and then deciding which ones that they want to take the time to go visit. That window and surge of attention is super real, and when it's gone, it's gone. You don't get it to come back. A home that is priced correctly enters that window with everything working in its favor. The seller immediately sees that there's showings, the buyers are visiting, the offers come in, and they get to negotiate from a position of strength. Sellers that enter the market higher than the market values their home end up getting skipped. Your buyers compare it to everything that they've been looking online. They're pretty much experts after looking for a little while, and your days on market start to tick up. And here's a little bit of real estate trade tidbit that could help you. Your home days on market is something that is measured completely separate from everything else when you're going on. So there's 30 days, you wait 60 days, 90 days, your buyers are going to start to wonder what's the matter with this house, even if there's nothing wrong with it. And when your market days go up, it becomes a problem just kind of on its own. The home gets astigmatism, and this is 100% independent from whatever caused it to be slow from the start. I want to tell you about a listing that I followed in my neighborhood. I watch my neighborhood really closely. I live in Northwest Redmond. I watch all of the sales around me, and I walk my dogs and saw that this for sale sign had popped up. And I had been watching our market for a little while. There was even one down the street from us that went on, and it started at $595, sat for months and months and months, and then finally sold at $470. So when this one hit the market, I kind of had a feeling that it was going to be doing the same sort of thing. It was listed super high, and the listing agent was also a local real estate agent. So it's not like he didn't know the area, but his sellers wanted to list high and leave room for negotiation. So the outside of the house was super cute. It was on a corner lot. The backyard was meticulously cared for. Some things that were kind of working against the home that weren't the price is they had these really dark drapes that they left up. And even in the photos, they kind of pulled away from the charm of the home. And then the other thing was that at some point during this home, somebody decided that they were going to convert one of the garages. So there was a 2-car garage on one side and a single garage on the other. They converted that single garage into a bonus room. So instead of 3-car garage, 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, it was a 2-car garage. I don't know if you can call that a bedroom, but it was a big room, 4-bedroom, 2-bath, you could say. And with this market at that price point, the garage would have probably held more value than this like weird bonus room. So we're walking, we're seeing it, it's still sitting there. I look it up online, I see that they're slowly starting to slide down, and finally, after months, it went pending. And I saw the agent at our weekly MLS meeting, and I could just see the relief on his face. He was like, thank goodness this is over. You could just feel he just felt like weight was lifted off his shoulder. And I said, so did your sellers get what they were hoping for? And he goes, No. I watched it go, you can't really ask until it's actually closed. So once it finally closed, I went online to the MLS and I saw that it had closed $100,000 less than where it had started in the beginning. So if they'd been priced right, they probably would have sold quicker and gotten a little bit more than what they ended up settling for at the end of the day. Now, let me tell you about my friend and client, Railyn. Railyn bought her home in October. She got a good deal on it. It had started on the market late in the summer and sat for a little bit. They kind of chased the market down and she ended up getting a pretty good deal on it. She put a substantial amount down, but then life came at her and she ended up meeting somebody, the love of her life, and she wanted to be closer to them. So she reached out to me and I went to her home and looked at it. She'd done some upgrades and things like that. But really, realistically, it was like less than 10 months since she had bought this house. So even though she put a lot down and she was going to be able to walk away with some money, she wasn't going to be able to walk away with all of her money. And since we were coming to the spring market, we kind of pushed the price a little bit higher than what it was in the fall. And she asked if we could maybe push a little bit higher than that. And I listed the numbers with her. We sat down for our pricing strategy session and she could see that what buyers were not making transactions or making offers on homes in that little pocket where she was trying to reach up to. So thankfully, she listened to my guidance, listened to the data, and we ended up pricing it perfectly. It sold in less than 30 days. It was super smooth. The buyers ended up with all the furniture at the end of the deal, which made it really smooth for Railyn. She could move on with her life and she was ready to go be with her person. That is what a well-positioned listing looks like when everything is working just the way that it should. It's not dramatic, it's not white knuckle, it's just correct preparation, honest pricing, and a smooth close. So this might sting a little bit, but the instinct that pricing your home gives you any sort of room for negotiation to come down to where you want anyway is a little bit backwards from what it is in real life. You list high, your first 2 weeks leave with no activity. Nobody calls, nobody visits. Buyers are watching and wondering why it's priced so high. And then you start to panic and you start to drop your price. Then the buyers are wondering why you're dropping the price. And then eventually they start coming in with their offers, but they're going to lowball you because they feel like there's blood in the water. And you're going to end up taking a price that is less than what you would have gotten if you priced it right to begin with. One way to think about it is correct pricing at the beginning is not leaving money on the table. It's how you protect the money that is already there. If you're thinking about selling your home in Central Oregon and you want an honest, data-based conversation about what your home is worth right now, not what your neighbor thinks, not what your friend down the street sold for in 2022, not what Zillow says that it is, I would love to sit down and talk to you about that. This sort of thing is really my bread and butter, and I'm a no pressure, no obligation real estate broker here. I just want to have a real conversation with you about your specific home and your timeline. The link to schedule is in the description below, and if this was helpful, please subscribe. I make videos specifically for Central Oregon homeowners who want to understand this market before they make any big decisions. I make new videos every other week, and I would love to have you.